Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another player ratings live stream following another Chelsea victory. As much as it wasn't pretty today, it wasn't pretty. It was another clean sheet, at least 2 goals, and Chelsea are through to their FA Cup semi-final at bloody Wembley, and 2012 is still possible. And I'm gassed. And to talk about all of that, it's not just the game wasn't pretty, like I said, still gassed. And I'm even more happy to talk about all of it with my good friend, with my partner in crime for these player ratings live streams, Mr. CFC Pies. Bro, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Reasonably happy after the win. Just really kind of a boring, dull game, I guess, but just another one where we got the job done, and you know, I guess I can't really have too many complaints as long as we win, even though the game was really boring. And you know, I was on I was just scrolling through Twitter by the end of the game, to be honest. I was that bored, just, you know, hardly paid attention towards the ending moments, but good to see Ziyech got a goal. And yeah, I'm just happy we're in the semi-finals, and I'm really intrigued to see who we draw half time of the Man U Leicester game, because you know, if we have the luck, kind of like the Champions League, hopefully we'll get Southampton and then go to a final. But we could get Man City or Man United / Leicester. So, it will be very interesting.
It will definitely be very interesting. I mean, obviously, ideally, we get Southampton. But at the same time, it always hurts less when you lose before. So if we were to say, oh, we're not going to beat Man City, I'd rather lose to them in the semis than in the final, to be honest. But let's be positive. 2012 can still repeat itself. So let's just make that final, and let's just make another double. And by the way, when I say 2012 can repeat itself, we're still going to make top 4. We're just going to make 2012 even better, all right? But yeah, there's a lot to discuss today. Like you said, the game was boring. The game wasn't that fun. The game wasn't that interesting. It was an FA Cup game. Not expecting the views to be pretty great today, but I will say this before I get into anything else. We have hit 9,000 subscribers yesterday. Big ups to all of you guys for that. Big up for yourself for, you know, getting involved in the party. But now that was the last, as we discussed last time, service station on the road to 10K. And, you know, now that road is well and truly happening. So make sure you get subscribed. Make sure we get there as soon as bloody possible. We'll definitely have to hit it before the end of the season. Hopefully sooner. The sooner the better, obviously. So if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Smash the like button. That'd be very much so appreciated. And also, I want to give all of you guys, obviously we only have 25 people here at the minute, but maybe some people will watch it later. I want to give all of you guys a shout out because I really do appreciate that my community, my subscribers, my viewers seem to be much more friendly than a lot of other people. You know, we don't really do all the crazy hate and all the insults, you know, whether it's to guests like obviously Pice or whether it's to other guests or myself. I love that from you. I love that. You're a very welcoming bunch, which is why someone like Pice, you know, turns up week in, week out, because he likes you guys, which is brilliant. But just quickly, before we get into individual player ratings, what did you make of the game, Pice, other than the fact that it was a bit boring?
I mean, I don't really know what to say about it, to be honest. I'm surprised how many chances Sheffield United actually created. Like, I don't know. I struggle to think that the players thought it was going to be easy, because I don't think that's Tuchel's mentality. I think he's got them more well drilled than that, and I think we've seen that since he's arrived. But it did kind of seem like that. It just wasn't really, you know, Tuchel said wake up about like 10, 15 minutes in. He was shouting that. I think one of the Chelsea reporters reported that, saying, you know, he was shouting wake up and things like that. And it was just kind of a lackluster performance, really. But saying that, we got a goal at the end, which was a nice taken goal. Obviously, got a bit lucky with the deflection, but I mean, I don't really have to. Yeah, it was a massive deflection, own goal. Yeah, so.
Oh no, the first goal, you mean?
Yeah, the first goal was.
Oh, sorry, I was like, did the second goal take a deflection? Oh, okay.
No. Second one was a good finish, but yeah, so I just don't really have much to say. It was just kind of one of those ones where just get the job done, kind of. You know, but we did get lucky. I mean, I thought Kepa played really well, actually. I think he made 2 really good saves, especially the one where McGoldrick spinned Aspi. I wasn't very happy with Aspi there. Thought he could have done a lot better. But that was a great save, because he was trying to find the man in the box, and Kepa just kind of like tipped it, and then the guy didn't get there. So I think Kepa was probably the standout today. But yeah, I mean, just not really a great performance, to be honest.
No, it really wasn't a great performance. Yeah, 100% right with that. And yeah, I agree on Kepa. Like for me, Kepa, Chilwell, maybe Zuma, Emerson, and then obviously Ziyech with the decisive goal were probably, Ziyech only came on. So of the starters, the 4 I mentioned were probably the ones I thought were best. We'll get to what you thought of Kovacic. That would be an interesting discussion. I'm not saying it was dreadful, but it'd be interesting to hear what you think about it anyway. But yeah, it was a tough one. It was interesting. I'm not sure whether you read, but I think it was Nizar tweeted that Tuchel said post-game that you could already sense in the week that we're a bit tired and we lack a bit of confidence. Not confidence, concentration. And to be honest, like I've said this before, it's like after big win, the next game, especially if it's not another big game, is really difficult. That's why Tuchel always kept going on about when we had this tough run. He's like, it's not actually bad that we have one big game after the other because we'll never lose concentration because players always get up for it when it's a big game. And like you could kind of sense it, like the Leeds game. Do you know what I mean? It was before Atletico. It was after we just beat had two huge results in Liverpool and Everton, and it dropped a little bit. Then we beat Atletico Madrid, huge result, good draw for us. And then we go into playing Sheffield United, and I was more nervous for this game than I was ahead of Atletico. I know it sounds stupid, but I genuinely was because I was a bit worried about this Champions League hangover. And that's kind of what we saw a little bit today, but we managed to see it out anyway, which is why I'm very happy with it because, like I said, I didn't expect a masterclass of performance today. I didn't think we would absolutely batter them. As much as I was hoping for it, I didn't think we would. So for us to, even when there was dodgy moments at times or nervy moments, for us to see it out, I was very pleased overall. I can't lie.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, it was just, again, as I said, I'm surprised how many chances Sheffield United had. I don't know. It was annoying. I think we did get a bit lucky. Obviously, the McGoldrick header, I nearly had a heart attack when he got to that. I was like, oh no! And then
100%.
the Brewster one. Brewster hasn't scored all season, and then he drills it low and it hits a side netting. So I think we did get a bit lucky today. I'm not going to lie. I will admit that.
Yeah, we definitely did get a little bit lucky today. Just as I'm typing out all of the lineup so we can have it run across the bottom of the screen, because usually it just changed a few that need to be changed, but because we changed the entire team pretty much because it was an FA Cup game, we just need to type out the whole thing. I guess we can already start talking about Kepa. You already touched on him. You thought you had a good performance. So did I. Very good save initially from the McBurney shot. Then, like you said, when Aspie got spun, very good to get his fingertips onto the McGoldrick, I guess, kind of cross, and then Chilwell obviously cleared it. The only thing I didn't like was the moment you just mentioned. Before the McGoldrick sitter, Kepa, in my opinion, should have come to sweep it and not let Zuma clear out for a throw-in. Because, I mean, Zuma cleared it in the box. So clearly Kepa could have comfortably gotten there and just picked it up. So I think he should have done better there. I'm pretty sure Mendy would have come out to pick it up or punt it. So that's the only criticism I have for Kepa. Other than that, he was good. Of course, he always is stuck to his line for the set pieces. We know that. And we have to, kind of just accept that. But hey, to be honest, it was another good performance from Kepa. He hasn't had a bad performance since coming out of the team back when Mendy first joined. Fair play to him, to be honest. It's not easy to be constantly the backup and stuff. And he knows his role. And he's doing a good job, don't you think?
I do. I think this role kind of suits him more because he has less pressure on him as well. I'm not sure if he likes it. I don't suppose he does. I suppose he wants to be a starter, but he's definitely not getting ahead of Mendy because, the things you said, he doesn't really come off his line and claim crosses and balls and stuff like Mendy does. And just think Mendy's generally the better keeper anyway, and shot stopping. I think the only thing that Kepa's better at is with his feet. Kepa's very, very good with his feet.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, I do. I think his distribution's very good, Kepa. I think that's one of the reasons why we signed him.
I'm very surprised by how good Mendy's is, and I would argue that Mendy's is at least of the same level as Kepa's was under Sarri and better than Kepa's was last season.
I'm not sure about that.
Fair?
Sure.
No, fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Mendy does still look quite shaky sometimes. His distribution's good, but I don't know. I don't ever get really nervous when Kepa's on the ball, whereas I do with Mendy sometimes. So I think that's probably the way I'd put it. But in terms of
who's
today,
the guy that had one clearance with the foot intercepted by the opponent to concede a goal? That was Kepa out of the two.
You're putting me under pressure, aren't you? No, I get it. I don't know. I think if there's one attribute that I like about Kepa, it is generally how decent he is on the ball. So I think that's one thing I would definitely give to him. But I mean, overall today, I think he was very good. And as you said, less pressure off him. His concentration seems to be there when he does play, which is good. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with him. I see some of the comments saying 7, but to be honest, if I'm going to give him a 7, then all the others are going to be lower because for me, he was my man of the match. So I
Oh,
thought,
really? Man of the match. Even though, do you not see that as a mistake when I think he should have swept? Do you not count that as a mistake? Because for me, it is. Hence why I would.
I'm not sure what like clip you're talking about, or
Before the McGoldrick chance, which came from a throw-in, it was a over-the-top ball by Sheffield United, and Zuma had to outpace the attacker and punted it out for a throw-in, and he was then shouting to Kepa, "You should have come for it." And if Kepa comes, it doesn't end up in the throw-in; that ends up in McGoldrick's sitter.
I think I know which one you're on about, but was it more of a tackle? Like when Zuma came across for the tackle, or did he boot it out? Because that's the only I remember Zuma coming across for a tackle, but because he had to cover for someone, but I'm not sure if that was the one you're on about. But
it might not be. But anyways,
no.
just trust me on it. If you don't remember it, fine. But Kepa could have definitely come for it and saved the McGoldrick sitter, like basically the moment before. It's not a huge mistake. It didn't even lead to a goal, and we should have just defended the whole throw-in a lot better, obviously. But I'm saying he could have just done better in terms of just come for it. And also because we've gotten used to Mendy recently being really good at sweeping and coming out of the goal in the perfect moments every time. And Kepa just didn't do that. But other than that, I thought he was very good as well.
Yeah, I just think it's a case we shouldn't have like as high of expectations of Kepa as we should for Mendy. I don't personally think anyway, because as I said, I don't think he's a better goalie. So I don't think what we expect from Kepa is like going to happen all the time. Because of how inconsistent he is. That's why he's second choice. But
okay, so what would you give Kepa then?
See, this is where I'm stuck because, like, just to say in the comments, like, we didn't exactly play well, so 7 might be a high score, and I agree. But then Kepa was like one of my top 3 players. So if I'm going to give him a 7, then all the others are going to be really harsh, like 5s and 6s, because I didn't think we played well. So I kind of want to push it.
I see where you're coming from with that. I see it. I wouldn't give Kepa anything higher than a 7.5. I would even agree on a 7, but if you want to push him to a 7.5, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, let's do 7.5 then, so we can have a little bit of, like give lenience to other ratings as well. So, let's 100%. Do 7.5 for Kepa.
100%. And I agree with Jester here as well. We didn't play well. I wouldn't have given many 7+ today at all. I know sometimes I'm very generous, but today I wouldn't have given out many ratings like that. One of them, which is kind of interesting, was kind of Christensen. I think Christensen was very good. And there was a significant drop-off in our performance when he wasn't on the pitch anymore. I don't know 100% why he was taken off. I presume partly because obviously he was ill in midweek. That just took some energy out of him, so he wasn't ready to play the full game. I presume that was the reason why he was taken off, because he wasn't bad by any means at all. Especially when you already have Emerson as one of the other centre-backs to bring Aspion. I don't think we would have done that unless it was necessary, if that makes sense. I think Christensen was very good until he had to come off. Obviously, he didn't play the full game, so it's difficult to put him up there as man of the match. But I don't think he's put a single foot wrong. That one through ball that he dealt with perfectly well, with probably McGoldrick or whoever it was, maybe it was McBurney. I think he had a very good game. And I think he deserves at least a 7, maybe a 7.5 with Kepa. But if you obviously want to, in your books, want to really go for, for Kepa as man of the match, I won't let you have him as the highest rating, I think. But then maybe we should put Christensen at least half a point below. What do you say?
Yeah, I would put him as a 7. I thought he was good, but I think obviously because he came off, I can't really put it as the same as Kepa. And also Kepa had that one really good save when McGoldrick squared it. So I think I will just give Kepa a little bit higher. But and oh, by the way, guys, as I'm saying this, it's now 3-3 between West Ham and Arsenal. So
is it?
That's brilliant. that's just made this stream even better. So
it's a shambles for both of them. Honestly, was it another on goal? That'd be funny.
I'm not sure, but I've just seen it pop up on Twitter. So yeah, but anyway, Christensen, I would say 7. Another solid game, and just really happy for him. I was kind of nervous when he wasn't playing, obviously against Atletico, but Zuma did really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing Christensen again. And also another thing I want to mention is he played right centre back today, which suggests to me that I think when Silva comes back, Silva might move back to the middle, and then maybe it will be Christensen. What's his name? Silva and Rudiger. I think that's probably the back three that we'll go with. I know a lot of people say like, oh, I can't see Aspi being replaced. He's the best right centre back. I agree and disagree. I think he can drop out, and I think the reason why, although he's been very good, is because like I think Christensen just has to play more over Aspi. I don't think Aspi's had as good as form as Christensen. I think Christensen's been amazing, so he has to try and fit both him and Silva in. And then obviously Aspi can't play left centre back, so I think maybe that's why Tuchel tried Christensen right centre back today. So I think that's maybe something to think about as well going forward in the next few weeks, maybe as well.
Yeah, I mean, the way Tuchel has spoken about it, I think he will want to ideally keep Aspi in the squad. But in terms of how to best rotate Aspi, because he isn't the youngest anymore and probably isn't able to play every single game, I think putting Christensen there instead of him is probably most likely. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I see that. Now Lacazette scored. But yeah, no, I agree. I think let's give him the 7. I think that's pretty fair. And I think it's one of the other. It's again a situation where the defenders will get the highest ratings because Zuma again was one of the other shouts I had for man of the match because again I didn't think Zuma did anything wrong, and Zuma had a really brilliant performance. Like only won every aerial battle that he was in that I can think of. So I was very happy with Kazuma, in all honesty. I don't think he did anything wrong. Getting better and better and more used to playing, in the middle of the three. Obviously, already had a very good performance against Atletico Madrid. Probably give him a 7 too. Just because he was on the pitch when we struggled so much, I can't really give him higher, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with Zuma there being a 7. I think that was probably a fair rating for him as well. Another solid game. Didn't really do much wrong, so I think that's a fair rating.
Fair enough. And then we get to Emerson, who for me deserves a shout in terms of man of the match because I think he was very good. He was, especially in the first half, less so in the second half maybe, but especially in the first half, he was the only one that really seemed to have progressive passing today. That's the only guy that seemed to try and play the ball forward. I know people will come at me and say Billy Gilmore. Well, maybe, and also include into that not just try progressive passes, but also complete them because neither Kovacic nor Billy did that half the time. And I think Emerson did that very well today. I was very pleased with Emerson, also defensively, other than for the throw-in that ended in the McGoldrick sitter. I think Emerson was brilliant today, and I think he deserves at least a 7.5.
Well, I don't know about 7.5. I'm not sure. Maybe a 7. I don't know. I just think because Kepa's... I can't not give Kepa man of the match, I don't think. So
of course you can.
I don't know. I just feel like he saved us the most this game. I feel like he was the most kind of crucial to this win. I honestly do. And I know
But how was that not Chilwell, surely? He assisted the goal and forced the own goal.
I don't like Chilwell, to be honest. I know he got the
yeah,
goal.
but that has got nothing to do with anything.
It's like you and Werner. It's like I can't... I really struggle to really praise Chilwell. Even if he scores a 30-yard scream, I'll be like, but he did this. You know what I mean? People say it's like an agenda. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't know. I don't know what to give him. I don't know what. I don't know.
What would you go? Just ignore what I said. Just what would you go?
I'd give him a 7 as the other defenders. I think they're all as solid as each other. I don't think there was any one standout, to be honest.
Well, because I would have given Kepa the 7, I think then we just have to agree to give Kepa and Emerson both the 7.5 then.
All right, go on then. I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it.
Oh, I'm not sure whether you'll let me have the other ones too, but we'll see. Because we get to Ben Chilwell next, and like I said, I'm not even saying you have the most brilliant of performances of all time, not by any means. But hey, he forced the own goal. It was a decent shot, even though Opta apparently thought it was a cross. Clearly wasn't. It was an outside of the boot effort. Clearly not a cross. Anyway, and it was a good assist for Chilwell too, for CH2, and I think he had an overall good game. I think he has to be 7.5 at least. I would maybe push an 8, but I would be okay with giving him a 7.5 along with Emerson and Kepa. But I don't think you can go lower. You can't force the own goal and the assist. That's being involved in both goals. You can't do more than that and be good defensively too.
I think because that's how you said it, and obviously he did get those 2 goal contributions, if you will. I think he has to at least be a 7.5. But again, I don't know. Even though he got those goals, I don't know. I really rated Kepa's performance today, so it's hard for me to put him on the same ratings. But I mean, you do give good logic behind it. He was involved quite a lot, so I mean, I guess he at least has to get a 7.5 because of what he did. You know, he was involved in the goals, so it'd be like kind of ridiculous for me to go lower. But so
And
yeah,
like you
I
can,
guess
if we have all of the same rating, it doesn't mean Kepa isn't your man of the match. Do you know what I mean? Like you can
all
have
right.
people on the same rating, and for you, in
Okay.
your opinion, he still be the standout 7.5. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. So I'm more happy to go with 7.5 then for Chilwell if that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Also, like this is the rating is obviously a mix of us both. While you, the Kepa man of the match, is like your own opinion, if that makes sense. So our combined ratings doesn't take away your opinion, mate. Don't worry. I guess next we get to Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I wasn't that happy with today, to be honest. Whether he was at the right wing back or whether he was the left mid or left winger, I don't think he was great. I think the communication between him and Mason was shocking in the first half. The amount of misunderstandings these two had was crazy. And I don't understand. I mean, these two guys have been playing together for what, like 10 years? How can you have so many misunderstandings? How's that happen then? I wasn't happy with him. I would be thinking something like 5.5.
Yeah, I was going to say 5. I think it was a really poor game from Callum, honestly. And this is hard for me because I've been a big fan of him since like 2018. You know, when he first broke through, and I do love Callum, but he just needs to sort his like shooting and finishing out. Shooting, especially like the one where he cut in and just absolutely smashed it over the bars. Like no, like
Yeah,
this
left
is
foot.
not the. It's just not the best version of himself. Like you know what I mean? He can do so much better.
I keep going on about this. He just don't have a left foot.
No, he don't. But again, he is young, so he's still going to be, take a few years to get to sort of like get it to where it's supposed to be, or where he wants it to be, or where Tuchel wants it to be if he's still here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on him, but you got to say it how it is. He was poor today. So, for me, I'm going to have to go with a 5, unfortunately, because I really like him, and that's a shame.
I would agree. I was kind of. I mean, someone that doesn't like him as much as we do probably would even go for like 4.5, 4, because, like I said, the performance wasn't great, and that bias will be visible when we get to another player that I'm going to rate who were probably equally as bad, in all honesty. But hey, we'll get to that. And next, I guess we talked to the midfield too, which was an interesting one because obviously there was Matisse told me this yesterday that he heard Jorginho had a knock. I didn't hear anybody else talking about this, and obviously journalists don't care about Jorginho. If it was, I don't know, Mason Mount, there would have been already confirmation why he wasn't in the squad, but because Jorginho, no one cares. That is my only logical explanation that must be true. Otherwise, why on earth wouldn't he be in the squad? I mean, personally, I would have even started him, but he definitely would have come on and would have made the nervy part of the second half much more comfortable. Having him on the pitch, we could have controlled and calmed the game down much better with him on the pitch. But Gilmour and Kovacic, they were both decent, not like awful, but I don't think they were both great, to be honest. I mean, Kovacic had one very good ball to Hudson-Odoi, but he attempted it like 6 times and it worked once. And Billy was good, and I said this on Bruce Fan TV and I tweeted it already too. So many of his passes were like a yard or two off of where he meant to put them, and they then either ended up as misplaced or the teammate had to stretch so far for it that it like stopped the whole pace of the build-up, if you get me. Do you agree with those assessments before we get into individual ratings?
Kind of. I kind of do disagree with you. I feel like you might be being a bit harsh on the pivot. I thought they were both quite good. I mean, especially Kovacic had a really good stat line today, and I know it's not all about stats, but when you do look at the stats, he did perform really well. Maybe not as involved as other games. He wasn't doing crazy dribbles and stuff, but I mean, he still had 6 out of 7 successful dribbles, so he was involved quite a lot. And with Billy, I feel like he was passing the ball forward as much as he could, especially in that first half. That ball to Hudson-Odoi was unbelievable. Like that pass was ridiculous, and I saw a lot of people raving about that, and rightly so. I was kind of disappointed to see him take Billy off. To be honest, I thought he could have played the whole game, but to be honest, I was quite happy with both of them, especially Kovacic, because as I said, like he did have a really, really good stat line, and I do like my stats. So
I do like stats as well. The dribbling one has always been one that I wasn't, even when it was Hazard and he was doing brilliantly for us, and it always said most dribblings completed. That just doesn't mean anything. That just means you run and then you pass the ball without losing it. That doesn't mean where you ran to. It just means you ran with the ball at your feet and then didn't lose it. That doesn't mean anything. Like Pedro tried to run back into our own goal half the time. And if he didn't lose the ball, that's a dribbling completed. But he still ran 40 yards backwards. But in the stats, it would show up as dribble completed. Do you know what I mean? So like, I don't think, like, just as gave both of them in the both of them a 6, Billy Gilmour and Mateo Kovacic.
Nah, that's way too low.
Way too low. No, I would agree with that. I would maybe push Billy to a 6.5. I think he was better than Kovacic. But if we give, and I think our back three were all better than our midfield two. Like, we lost control so badly of this game in the second half. I don't think our midfield can be very highly rated because we lost too much control against Sheffield United. Do you know what I mean? We had no control of this game for a good 25 minutes. And I don't think the midfield two can be rated too highly then.
I'm going to disagree with you because, especially with Kovacic, if he didn't win the duels and the tackles he made and wasn't relieving pressure by winning the fouls he made, I think we get overrun even more. So I kind of understand about Billy, but with Kovacic, as I said, the duels he won and the tackles and interceptions he made and the amount of times he was fouled, I just feel like he relieved more pressure on us. I do than could have been. Obviously, we didn't control the game as we would with Jorginho, but I think that's the same with any pivot. If you don't have Jorginho there, you can't expect full control because he is the one that brings the full control, in my opinion. So I think those ratings are a little bit low. I don't know, especially on Kovacic, just because, as I said, like, his stats were really good. And I know it's not all about stats, but they are, the proof's there, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I would, what are the other ratings? I would probably go with, I think Gilmour has to be a bit low, obviously, because he got taken off. So I'd go 6.5 for Gilmour and probably, I mean, it's hard because we've got, like, let me have a look again. We've got Christensen at 7. Zuma, Emerson's got a 7.5 and Kovacic was better than Emerson. So
no, I strongly disagree with that.
Do you disagree?
I disagree. I think Emerson was brilliant.
I don't know then.
Let me just comment on what you said before we agree on the rating, if that makes sense, because I do see what you're saying in terms of Kovacic tried to get us out and made good tackles and got fouled in moments. That's all. That's true. Like, you're not saying anything wrong. I'm still saying losing control of the game is not a visible thing in terms of doing something wrong as such. That's like giving the ball away or something like that. It's like not getting the ball when you could have. Do you know what I mean? Like not covering the right passing lanes, not keeping the ball as well as we could do as a team. But that sometimes was also the defenders' fault, but also the midfielders not offering themselves as much as they could do and should do. And a sign of that was when Kante came on, we gained some control back. Hence why I don't think, and when Havertz came on too, and that pushed Mount into the middle, and that gave us a little bit of control. Mount a bit deeper, and Havertz in the game gave us some control back. So I don't think Kovacic and Billy can be. I'm just saying. I'm not. I see what you're saying in terms of it's harsh, but I think they were both worse than the defenders. So maybe I agree with you on giving one of them 6.5. But I don't think 6 is that bad of a rating. 6 is an average, right? Like 6 doesn't mean you were bad; it just means you were average. Do you know what I mean? And I think they both were average.
I don't know, maybe on the eye, but again, like this, no one got a better stat line than Kovacic today. So I don't know. it's hard, like.
Yeah, but obviously a centre back isn't going to get dribble stats like a midfielder.
No, but every position has like their each individual stats. So like, I don't know. I just think Kovacic.
I didn't see the stats, so you're better equipped to judge that then. But so what are we going to agree on then? I won't give Kovacic a 7. I don't think he can be as high as the defenders. I don't. If you want to go 6.5, that's okay. Like I said, I would have given 6.5 to both. But would you then give Gilmour a 6, or would you give both a 6.5?
I'd give Gilmour. Gilmour has to be less because he came off. So I think Kovacic probably gets. All right, I'll do 6.5 for Kovacic and 6 for Gilmour. But personally, I would have gone higher for Kovacic. But we've got to get on with the other ratings. So
yeah, it's weird because like I said, I probably would have given Billy a higher rating than Kovacic.
Well, you ain't
Not by
getting
a
that with
lot,
me
like
around here
only by
anyway.
an inch. Do you see what I mean? Like was much between them.
Well,
But yeah,
you're not
like you said, sorry, go on.
you're not going to get that around here with me here anyway. Maybe with other streamers, but not me.
No. I respect it, bro. I respect it. It's a combination of the both of us, so it's fair. Yeah, let's get to Mason Mount, and he was another one alongside Hudson-Odoi who I wasn't happy with at all today. I know he played 4 or 5 different formations: left inside forward, right inside forward, false 9, double pivot, everything, and that's impressive. But he wasn't very good at any of them. Like his passes didn't come off. Like I touched on already, him and Hudson-Odoi's communication was shocking. His start of the second half was much better when he was over on the left with Chilwell. That was better, but still not great. I would probably, because I think he was better than Callum, I would probably give him a 5.5, but I don't think he was good.
I agree. I thought it was pretty poor, to be honest. I think someone said he lost like the ball like 11 or 12 times in the first half, which, if true, was kind of ridiculous. And it kind of felt like that as well, because he was giving the ball away more than he does. I saw a lot of people as well saying like, "Oh, Mount captain and stuff like this," but I mean, I don't know what you was expecting, but I was kind of expecting him to be captain anyway. I think people are kind of gassing that up more than it needs to be. Like, I don't know, like I don't think it's a really big of a deal, to be honest. But
I guess
in
it was
terms of,
between him and Zuma, wasn't it?
yeah, like I don't know, like I guess it's just because it's a new manager, but then again, like I think that's probably come from the board, to be honest, saying they want Mount captain some games.
Nah, I don't. Personally, I don't think so. I don't think Tuchel cares much, and it was like he gave it straight to Aspie as well when he came on. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Tuchel cares, but I think the board cares because of the fans. I think they do.
Yeah, but I don't think the board is even told about their lineup until the lineup comes out. I mean, bloody the admin wasn't told. That was such a shambles. Let's actually talk about that quickly before we move on. Like, if people didn't clock this. So Chelsea, obviously, always an hour before the game, other than in Champions League games, then it's an hour 15 before the game. Released the formation both on their app, on their live show, and on Twitter and Instagram. And they just put the Leeds formation up with the graphics for Sheffield United. And I was like, this is no rotation. I'm very surprised by this. Also, Gilmour not in the squad, Hudson-Odoi not starting a 3rd game in a row. I was very confused. And then we get the notification on the 5th Stand app, and there's like a completely different team. And the admins changed, like he changed it. And then they got that wrong too, putting Mendy on the bench and Havertz not. Then they changed that again too. And then they put it up like a 4 at the back formation with Hudson-Odoi named as the first guy after Kepa, and Emerson as the last guy, as if he was the left forward. It was what a shambles. Honestly, what a shambles.
And also, he forgot to put Mount captain, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, that guy's definitely getting sacked or a good telling off, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he was
I
not
said,
on the ball today.
Yeah, I tweeted it in response to Chelsea saying like the admin taking all of the L's today, making sure the team get the dub because there was no L's left to take. Like honestly, he couldn't have done. Obviously, he's probably not the graphics guy, so he just tweets what he's been given by whoever makes the graphics. So it's not just his fault, but still, it was they had a bright old man, just a whole social media team, honestly. But would you agree on a 5.5 for Mason, and just because he was probably an edge better than Callum?
I don't know. I was kind of going to both give them 5, to be honest.
Don't you think he was? First of all, he wasn't taken off, and just for the fact that he had to play 4 different formations in a game is pretty difficult. I think that's for those reasons. I'm gonna.
I'll give him the edge for that, just because he did drop back into a pivot and then he played out wide, and so I guess he is kind of versatile. I mean, Callum can do that as well, but obviously he got taken off, so I will give you an extra 0.5 for that for Mount anyway. Yeah, but again, I just want to stress, I don't think he was good at all today. Like, this was not a good Mount game at all. Like, but we can expect like these off games from everyone once in a while. It's just when they go like 2-3 games, that's when I kind of get really pissed off. But with Mount, yeah, I'm just hoping this was just one off game, and then West Brom hopefully performs really well, and you know, he's involved in all our attacks and sets the pace and stuff for us again and drives us forward and hopefully scores. So yeah, anyway, international break coming up, so be interesting to see if he does play for England as well.
Mason, you mean? Or Callum?
Yeah, Mason, yeah.
Yeah, he probably will. I mean, how many games do you have? 3? Are all 3 qualifiers, or is there a friendly in there too?
I think they're all qualifiers. I'm pretty sure it's 3 and 7 days, so it's going to be pretty crazy. Sure, he'll play.
Very dodgy comment there, saying he needs rest. He didn't start the last 2 games. I don't know how you came to that conclusion, but fair enough. I guess next we get to Mr. Christian Pulisic, who was weird today because he kind of triggered me in the first half. He kind of annoyed me because initially he wasn't involved at all. Then he obviously slipped in the worst moment of all time to not make it 2-0, and he should just make it 2-0. Then he has this brilliant flick-flack running through everybody, but then again not scoring, although it was a really good save. And then he just got fouled about 15 million times, and the referee didn't think a yellow card would be decided, like would be time to show a yellow card. It's a weird one. It's a weird one for Pulisic. I didn't think he was great, but he also wasn't poor. Maybe like a 6.5. 6.5. I wouldn't go higher than that.
I don't disagree with you, but again, I did notice that they gave him man of the match on BBC
That's
Sport.
super weird. I just disagree with that.
Yeah, like I guess it's because of the amount of times he got fouled. I guess I think just based on that.
And how, Jack really snapped at it. No one cares about this.
Yeah, that's what they usually go by, like how good they look on the eye and how many fouls they win and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like that was a little bit weird. Like, again, he was good, but also not good at the same time. Like the skill was nice, and he went on some nice runs. He won fouls, but again, his finishing was bad.
And other than 2 or 3, he didn't win fouls in any helpful areas either.
People were saying as well. You know, when he went on that skill, and he shot the first one maybe okay, but the second one, no one was talking about it, and that was a sitter. I know it came at him quick, but he should be tapping that in. Like I'm not being funny or anything, but
did they show a replay of that? Because when it looked like it came back so quick that he couldn't. He just tried to get his foot in front of it, and it just bounced off his ankle. I need to see a replay of that to properly judge it. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and when you do see it, let me know if I'm being harsh or not. But for me, I just expect him to follow that in. Not sure if that's me just being a bit ridiculous because of my expectations for players, but I don't know. I thought he was good, but also not good. So I don't know where we rank him. Maybe 6.5, something like that.
Yeah, and Jesters, I'm sorry, I respect you, I like you. Obviously, big support of the channel. But your bias has now been officially confirmed, because if Hudson-Odoi had the same performance as Pulisic today, you would have given him a 5. Or 5.5 maybe, for what Pulisic did today. Like, he just got fouled, that's all he did, and you're not getting a high rating from me for that. You fouled and you missed chances. Whether they had good reasons like to miss chances, okay, missed chances. That's all he did. Didn't set anyone up brilliantly, nothing. I'll be okay with the 6.5, just because we gave Mount the 5.5, and I think yes, he was more than 0.5 better than him. But if we looked at him individually, I would probably more lean towards a 6. But I think 6.5 is okay. Then we get to Giroud, which is where I was talking about where bias comes in. Because, he was probably equally as bad as Callum, but I would give him a 4 anyway because he annoyed me. Because people annoy me. Because, he's Oliver Giroud. Everyone keeps telling me, he has the best hold-up play in the bloody world. The guy didn't hold up a single ball in the whole game. It was shocking. It was awful. And even it was also not his fault at times, but he was made to run after so many random balls. And whenever he tried to play them to somebody, bottled that as well. Nah. I'll be okay if you say give him a 5 because Callum 2, fine. But it just triggers me so much that people always go, he's so great at hold-up play. His hold-up play was awful in every game he's played this season. His overall performance, he had good games and he had important goals. I'm just saying his hold-up play was poor all season. But what did you make of Ollie before I get on my rant or whatever and people hate me?
Yeah, no, I do agree with you in some way. He wasn't really as involved. I think, to be honest, though, I also think what kind of pissed me off a little bit was the fact that we didn't really put many crosses in for him. We was trying a lot of over-the-top balls and things, and especially that one he had to chase after, and the commentators were like, this is not Giroud's strength, run into channels. And I was sitting there like, exactly, so put some bloody balls in then, and no one was doing it. So I was like, if you're going to play Giroud, then, maybe we do have to go for cross FC as such. But then again, that's not the way Tuchel plays. So where does Giroud fit? That's what people were saying, and I understand that. Giroud doesn't suit our system and the way Tuchel plays because we don't put crosses in the box. It just doesn't happen. It's all about the link-up play and movements in the box and then shooting and combinations. And yes, that's where I do agree with you. Giroud has to combine more. But then again, I don't think our attackers were good in the first half either. So blame to him and blame not to him as well. Because, one, we didn't really get him involved, but two, he didn't really get himself involved. So, what do you say? Like, what do you give for that? Probably a 5.
No, it's true. Like even I will admit, obviously, as a striker, it's more difficult if you're not getting involved. If you're not being made involved, it's more difficult to force that than say one of the wingers or the wingbacks. Like Pulisic wasn't so involved at the start of the game. I'll blame Pulisic for that because you're in a role where you can drop and make sure you are involved. As a striker, that's a bit more difficult. But like you said, yes, you can cross the ball. That's true, but the strength that everyone kept going on about is his link-up play. And the idea that everyone always said when we had to play Giroud over Higuain and over Morata and over bloody everybody is like, oh, he can link up so well with everybody. So you punt the ball to him and he lays it off to one of the other forwards. Yeah, but he doesn't, and he hasn't all season. And that's my issue with him, shall we say. I'll be okay. What would you give him? Would you give him a 5 like Callum, or would you give him higher, or what would you say?
No, I would give him a 5. And I think also about the link-up play thing, where that whole thing comes from is when we had Hazard. Giroud was ridiculous then when we had Hazard with the link-up play earlier on. And I think, to be honest, I think people just get kind of confused a little bit because Hazard was a different breed in terms of like dribbling and then getting the ball to the forward. Like Pulisic used to do that quite a lot, especially after lockdown last season. But I don't see any of our attackers do that like that much. Actually try and physically go for the 1-2s with Giroud. They kind of just, use him as a sticking point. And then, but then again, they don't really like when they get it into Giroud, they don't run off him like Hazard used to do. You know what I mean? And then get the ball and shoot. It's more like they just get the ball to him and then he passes back. He's kind of just a person just to be up there and keep possession kind of thing. Whereas he's not really the other players around him. What I'm trying to say is the other players around him don't really use him now as kind of a way to get a goal. It's almost like just of a sticking point. It's like, what's the point in him kind of, you know what I mean? It just feels like that a little bit. But then again, everyone has love for him, obviously, because he'll come up, even though he played bad, he'll come up in a big game with a massive goal and everyone loves him. And I love him for that because he's done so much for Chelsea. He's scored a lot of good goals for us. But again, he is old and he's going to have poor games. It's just a fact, especially when he's not getting the required service or he's not as quick enough to get to second balls and stuff. And that's what I would say as well when Havertz came on. Instantly, dropped deep, got the ball, run on and played it out wide. Giroud done none of that. Again, that is his fault, and it's not his fault because he's not as quick, he's not as mobile as Havertz, So there's different points to the argument, you could say, but overall I would give him a 5 just because he was poor. But as I said, there's more factors to him being poor as well. It's not only his fault, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I will agree on the 5, even though my heart says I should give him lower because he annoyed me the most out of everybody. But I know that looking at it objectively, a 5 is probably fair. And just to comment quickly on the whole with Hazard thing, yes, it was partly because Hazard was so good at it. But a bit like Pulisic isn't as good as he was after restart, Giroud isn't as good as he was when Hazard was here. Yes, Hazard helped it, but it's also a fact that Giroud just isn't that good anymore either. Like, that happens. Also, he's getting older. He's 34. So even if 34 doesn't sound so drastically different to 32, especially with his playstyle, it still makes a difference. So I think people need to get it out of their head that Giroud is still the player he was 2 or 3 years ago, because he isn't. And that doesn't mean he's now shocking and I would never want to see him again, but he's still not as good as he was then. And no, it doesn't. No one's scared of Giroud. Have you seen us play? Like, also, Sheffield United played a high line today because they're like, then Giroud is useless. And that's exactly what happened. Like, they played a high line with Phil Jagielka, 38-year-old Phil Jagielka, and they still outdone Giroud to make him completely pointless in the whole game. So no one's scared of Giroud, honestly. Especially when you play a back 3, that makes Giroud struggle much more to get involved. Because even when you're putting cross after cross, if the opponent has 3 centre-backs in the box, even for Giroud, it's difficult to get on the end of them. As much as he's good in the air, and I'll give him that credit, 100%. But even no matter how good you are, even for a Drogba, it's difficult to get on the end of crosses when you have 3 centre-backs around you, because you're always pushed, you're always shoved, you always have people around you to get on the end of it in front of you, on the end of it behind you. Like, it's difficult. It's super difficult. But, yeah. enough about Giroud. Give him that 5 and go to the subs. And the first 2 subs, I mean, that didn't work, did it? Because we lost every bit of control of the game that we had when those 2 subs came on. Again, Christensen probably wasn't fit to play the full game after his illness. So that's why Aspie came on. And I don't think Reece did any more or less than Callum did. I would give them both a 5. I don't think either of them were good.
Yeah, no, especially Reece. Like he went on that run, didn't he? And then he put a poor cross in the box, which I was quite disappointed with. A low cross. Thought he could have done better with that. But I'm guessing the Christensen one was planned because he was ill. But I don't think, obviously, the Reece one was. I think Reece just came on because Tuchel wanted more defensive solidity because we was under pressure. But again, I just don't.
And he probably wanted more pace up front, so he took Giroud off.
Yeah, just a different option. So but as you said, I don't think they were both of them weren't really good. I mean, Aspie especially, when he got turned by, I know Aspie's old as well, but McGoldrick, 33 years old, he's not quick either. So the way he got spun, I was like, oh no, like Aspie's usually better one-on-one defensively than that. So I was quite surprised that he did get absolutely done. And if it hadn't been for Kepa, I mean, the other guy looked like he was going to get there and tap it in, or so. Not really happy with Aspie. Just kind of average from Reece. I just think
maybe I give Aspie a 5 and Reece a 5.5.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you be happy to knock a point off for Aspie because he did nearly cost us a goal because if he if that situation after went differently and a tiny bit differently, Kepa doesn't save that as a goal. It's different. So.
He lost McGoldrick for that big miss as well.
Yeah, he did. So,
but we have anything with a 4 just seems a bit harsh. Do you know what I mean? That's why I would give him a 5.
Yeah, okay then, because we have Hudson-Odoi as a 5, and he wasn't really good either. So I think probably 5 and then 5.5 for Reece, just because he was more positive than Aspie, I think, and he didn't really make it. There wasn't any situation where I was like, "Oh no, Reece, what have you done?" But there was with Aspie, so I think we have to knock a point off for Aspie, I think.
That is fair. I think that's pretty decent. Like I would even if you were like really bang on, like Aspie can't get a 5, I would probably even accept that. But a 4 just seems a bit too harsh when we win 2-0. As much as he made mistakes, it's just a 4.5 or whatever when you win 2-0. It seems a bit outlandish to me. And just going back to Chilwell because I'm still feeling he was man of the match maybe because like he also had clearances. Like after that Aspie miss. Kepa safe. Chilwell was the guy that cleared it before Bogle got on the end of it, and Chilwell had a couple of other good clearances too. But again, doesn't matter. We already did that rating. Going to Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech, but was happy with both of them. To be honest, I didn't really notice Ziyech much until he scored. Did you?
No, I didn't.
To be honest, he pressed well. He ran after everybody like crazy.
Yeah,
but other than that, I didn't notice
the ball much, did he? He didn't have the ball much, but then he scored that. That goal was really nice as well. By the way he got to that and finished it, I was really impressed with that. I'm hoping with Ziyech he can find some form now. He's got 2 international games against countries that Morocco should beat, so hopefully he can be involved there. He's usually very good for Morocco in those games. So, if he can get this is the thing, Laurenz. Although Ziyech hasn't been very good under Tuchel, it will be so much better for him going into next season if the next sort of 5 Prem games after this he can maybe get 3-4 goals, 3 goals and a couple of assists or something like that. If he can just hit some form and get some goal contributions. I say the same with Werner. If any of our forwards click over the next few games, we've got a really good chance of getting top 4 because with our defensive solidity and the way we keep the ball when Jorginho's playing, which I expect him to do, we only need 1 or 2 goals to win the game usually. So imagine if 2 of our attackers hit form and, maybe we win the game 3-0 instead of 2-0 or 1-0, you know what I mean? If any of those hit form, this is what I'm just praying. Just please, one of you hit form. Go on a run of goals and assists, please, because we will get top 4 if we do. Honestly, I'm hoping it's one of Ziyech, it's one of Werner, or one of Havertz, or in Dreamland it's all of them. But I just expect us just to keep grinding out the results this season. I really do. I hope we can.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, to be honest, I think we'll get top 4 regardless. To be honest, because we have enough to get 1 or 2 goals most games anyway. And with how good we are defensively, I think that will be enough to make top 4. I think if they do that, I think we might even get second. What you said, I think we'll top 4 will unless the defense starts to bottle it, I think we have top 4. I'm very confident of that at the moment. But getting to the ratings, I think especially initially when Havertz came on, I was very impressed with him. He gave us some control back. We lost it again a little bit, but he gave us some control back, which was desperately needed at the time. I was happy with it. Once he lost the ball, just being a bit lazy or unaware of the guy being behind him, and he was kind of hoping for a foul and it didn't come. I would give Kai 6.5 and Ziyech probably a 6, but the goal gives him a 7 because the goal was really good, like you said. Like the Chilwell's cross was good, but nothing like super crazy. Chilwell had a lot left to do with that. Did he control it with his right and then on the volley with his left? That was a very good finish. So I was happy with it. Would you agree? 6.5 and 7?
For Ziyech.
How about 6.5 Ziyech? And I would give Ziyech a 6, but just the goal, because it was so good, gives him that extra point to a 7, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I would do the same. To be fair, yeah, that's
fair enough. Fair enough. And then we got to N'Golo Kante, who's the difficult one because he wasn't on the pitch for long, like just over 10 minutes, but he gave us a lot. Like, obviously, I don't want to give him the highest rating of everybody. Like, that'd be a bit outlandish, but I think he deserves at least a 7, even though he was only on the pitch for 10 minutes, because he gave us some control back, which is why we didn't struggle so badly at the end, other than the Brewster chance.
Kante was interesting for me because I didn't really notice him much. So I think that I'm gonna kind of have to leave this more up to you because I honestly didn't really notice him much on the ball, but off the ball he was working quite hard. But on the ball I didn't really notice much of him. So
100%.
Kind of have to
leave. Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of difficult to give a rating, isn't it, for someone that was on for not long and also just kind of didn't really catch your eye as such. I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It just, to me, the whole game got calmer once he came on. And if that is the impact you have when you come on, that's an important impact when you're trying to hold on to a lead, I think.
Yeah, I do agree. I think, that makes more sense because obviously it did give us as you said earlier, it did give us a bit more of the control and kind of more defensive solidity. So I will have to agree with you on that.
Fair. I mean, I would be okay if you said 6.5, but I think, I know Ziyech scored the goal, but I think Kante still had a more positive impact outside of the goal than Ziyech did, if that makes sense. And now we get to Thomas Tuchel as the last one to speak about. Tough one today. You could argue he rotated it a bit much because we struggled as a team. And he didn't really manage to get them totally up for it. But I've said this before and I say it again. It's not down to the manager. That's just human psychology. You're going to struggle to be as motivated for a lesser game after a huge win. That's just how it goes. You lose a bit of adrenaline, and then it's difficult to get yourself up to the same level of performance. We won the game. One of the subs scored a goal. As much as the first two subs didn't work, probably give him a 7, maybe. I don't think we can give him much higher than that, but I think 7 is okay. What about you?
Again, difficult because obviously FA Cup tie we won into the semis, but then again the game wasn't really good. He did mention that the team was tired, but I don't know how much can you really blame Tuchel for the performance. I don't think. I guess it all comes down to lineup really. If he was happy with the lineup or not, or whether you would have done things different. I don't know. Like. Managers
For me, it's mostly the first two subs that just really didn't work, which is why I wouldn't really want to give him any higher.
Yeah, I don't know.
What would you give him? Ignore what I said. Just tell me what you would give him.
I think personally, I quite like the subs, so I would probably take in for all the factors of us getting to a semi-final and winning the game, and just getting through. I'd probably be more nice and give him. Probably an 8 for me, but I wouldn't go much higher.
Okay, 7 for me, 8 for you. Let's even it out on a 7.5 then, I guess. And I guess that goes well along with the rest of the ratings that the top performers today got 7.5s. Kepa, Emerson, Chilwell, and Tuchel. I think that's probably fair overall. And I think for once, as much as I know you would like to give Kepa higher ratings than Emerson and maybe even Chilwell, I think for once we gave somewhat reasonable ratings, not 8s and 9s, even though we weren't playing so well. If you get where I'm going from.
No, true. Honestly, to be honest, looking at them, they are quite high for the performance. But We
The
won, so who
midfielders aren't,
cares?
and I think, yeah, gone.
Yeah, we won, so who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We did play
exactly.
well. We won. We have to be positive. You know, if we lost, obviously it'd be completely different.
Yeah.
But because we won and got the job done, yeah, I mean they are reasonably fair, I think.
See, everyone keeps talking about Ziyech celebration. Did you know? I didn't even see it because it was in injury time. I was preparing my stream. Like I saw the goal, and I didn't have time to look at the celebration. Was this celebration anything special or?
He did something with his hands, like a symbol. I'm not sure. I'm not sure
Okay,
what it was. I don't know what they're on about, to be honest. He does so many
fair enough.
different celebrations.
That's true. That's true. Just quickly, I want to discuss that maybe by Global Virtual Aviation saying, I hope Kepa will start more games now. Personally,
No,
I disagree.
yeah,
He's been good, but he's still not been Mendy good. And at the end of the day, it was for Marcel Desailly. What did Desailly say? He said, zip it. He zipped his lips. Well, okay, he zipped his lips doesn't actually necessarily mean zip it. That could just mean like a bit like the Jose comment, if I speak, I'm in trouble. So who knows? Maybe he was criticized somewhere and he didn't like it. Fair enough. Best way to shut up your haters is by scoring a goal. So well done to him. But about Kepa, the only reason that was the last game he plays this season until we possibly have top four wrapped up by the time we play Villa in the last game. I don't think he plays the top semis. Do you think
I wouldn't even play? I wouldn't even play him in the last Prem game, to be honest, because
even if we have top four sealed up?
No, because I want Mendy to try and get the Golden Glove. So I think I'd play Mendy.
No, that is a fair point. Yeah, if maybe he's 2 ahead by that point, and then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if he can't catch Edison, then or if he can't catch Edison or he's ahead, then maybe. But if he's like 1 behind or something, then I still want to try and at least try and get him there.
Yeah, that's true.
Depending on how well we keep doing defensively and how well City do, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, Kepa's a funny one. Still know that obviously the club want him to try and go on loan and sell him possibly if they can, but it's hard to shift. And I think these games where he is performing well will at least kind of give some pointers to Marina to maybe potential clubs. Say, look, he's done this season. He played well in these, but I don't know. It's going to be hard. I don't know what his future's going to hold. I just, as long as he's happy, then as long as he's not causing problems, which we haven't heard about, then everything's fine. And I think Tuchel's got good man management, so I'm sure he's keeping him well, sort of cuddled up behind the scenes, if you will, trying to keep him positive.
Yeah, I mean, Tuchel said that after the game that Mendy will not be going international due to a tooth operation. I presume he's having a wisdom tooth or 2 removed. Like, what other tooth operation is he going to have, right? So, yes, he will be fit. Maybe he even already had that because, like I said, he wasn't in the squad today, so he might have already had this tooth operation. He would definitely be fit by the time we play West Brom, which is another Saturday early kickoff, which I'm fuming about and slightly scared about. But this is a question. Do you think he'll play the cup games, Kepa?
In the semis?
Like the semi?
Nah, no chance. No way. He won't play. No. No way. Maybe if we got Southampton, but I still don't think he'll play. I think Mendy will play. And also Leicester have just scored, so that's good.
Leicester have scored. Although Jester said it earlier, he wouldn't mind playing United in the semis because United bottle it in the semis every time. So, and that's a fair point. And what Yusuf said is also a fair point. We have over 100 people watching and only 40 likes. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you smash the like button. Let's get at least 50 likes. Obviously, it was a bit of a dead game today. There's another fairly big game going on at the moment, so it's understandable. But still, if you're here right now, might as well smash the like button. So we're going to wrap it up here. Both of us want to watch the rest of that game. Obviously, the draw of the semi-final happens at half time of said game as well. So we want to, get all of that. I really appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. But again, be sure to subscribe. We just hit 9,000 subscribers, but we're on the road to 10K. So make sure you subscribe. Every single new subscriber counts a lot. Join the party, join the family. We have a good time here. Like I said, smash that like button. If you fancy becoming a member, there's a join button underneath if you're on desktop, and there's a link in the description. If you're on your phone, or the information you require is there. And if you want to still drop a super chat, obviously happy to do so, but you don't have to. But it just supports the channel, and if you want to do that, you are very welcome to do so. But Pice, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Do you have any last words before we go into the national break and probably won't speak to each other until we come back from that?
Well, as soon as I'm on your channel, make sure to subscribe, guys, and like and help Laurenz get to 10K. I see him all the time streaming, and you guys in the chat are really nice. So I enjoy coming on, and yeah, just onwards and upwards for us. Hopefully, after West Brom, it won't be a down sort of player ratings. Hopefully, we will win, and the international break won't affect us much. I just hope we keep winning, and obviously the semi-final draw is going to be interesting as well for the FA Cup. I'm sure we can talk about that maybe on a stream sometime.
For sure.
But yeah,
especially because, mind you, the FA Cup semi-final takes place the weekend after the second leg against Porto.
Right, yeah, and also on Porto as well. I heard that Pepe has got an injury for them at the moment, like a muscle injury, so that could be interesting. If he's out for that,
very interesting. In the mud, in the mud, we've got them on toast. I'm super confident at the moment. It's crazy.
Everyone's saying like Tuchel's got some mad juju. You know, Pepe's injured. We've got McGoldrick missing sitters when he uses scroll-head kicks. We've got Leicester beating United. It's like it's madness. So. But yeah, guys, if you enjoy the stream, make sure to like, and we'll be back soon, 100%.
We will be back soon. Exactly, we'll be back soon. Again, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Let's get to 50 likes right now. I mean, if you're watching this right now, might as well go down below, smash the like button, turn it from a dead, grey, boring little hand to a blue hand, because blue is the color. So let's just do that. That'd be massively appreciated if you could do that. Hit the notification bell button so you don't miss any streams in the future, because I do these very regularly. Maybe less so during the international break. Now I should be streaming with Simon Phillips next Saturday for a bit of a international break transfer news roundup, whatever happens with Erling Haaland, whatever we're interested in midfield, defense, goalies, whatever. We'll talk about all of that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you to Pice for coming on. Check him out on Twitter. The link is down in the description. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. And I'll see you. Next time.